Hello everyone, this is Atma76X, and today I'm going to give you my review of Guild Wars 2. I was trying to figure out how I want to do this video, but I just got so hooked up with, hooked into playing the game that I just figured I'd take the best parts of the game and just kind of, you know, mash it together and put into one big video with the best parts, or my best experience so far in the game. Right now what you're seeing is a character creation. I chose to go with a rogue because I desperately wanted to backstab something. I'll just talk about the character creation because it goes on for a bit, and this is actually sped up to like 400 times, I believe. So, just to give you an idea of how long it can take you to make a character, if you're really into doing that. I think I was the only one that actually took time to make my character out of all my friends. Most of my friends kind of like made a character and just went with it, like, within a few minutes. But me, I kind of like to make my character, give it some time, and try and just, I don't know. I like to put in time and detail in my characters, and with this game you have a ton of options. From, you know, the build, like in some games you just kind of like make one character and you just kind of go with like what am I trying to say here? In some games it's really straightforward. It's like male, female, hair length, color, and then, you know, you made your character in this class and that's it. In this you have a lot of different options. A lot of them come here at the end where it gives you like 3 options out of it gives you 3 options to choose from. Right here you're looking at like your personality. You can either be charming, dignifying, or fearsome, and I of course went with fearsome. Then you get to choose like a background, like where you grew up, if you want to be rich or poor. And I was kind of trying to make kind of like a sort of like a Batman kind of character, I guess. So I kind of went with, like, I had rich parents, and but I didn't know them really or something. You can't just say like your parents died or whatever. And then you get to choose a god to follow if you're human, I believe. I don't know about the other races. There's you can effectively make like about 3 different characters. You can make, god damn, there's so many options you can make. But like you can definitely make 3 characters that are all human and have like different stories for each of them. And they could all be the same, like, class, really. Because basically what happens is you choose, like, your backstory, and then once you do your backstory, you go into your, you know, your storyline, then you choose an order to follow on how to deal with the main enemies in the game, which are dragons, which I'll probably get to that later, but right here, you're looking at the main city for the humans, and I just thought this was just outstanding and breathtaking when I entered here. I'm like, God, this was just so amazing to look at. This, like, this is just the main city. This is, I don't know what this is. This is like a park in the middle of the town or something, but it just looks so amazing. Like, I had never, like, most fantasy games just, you know, most MMOs, they don't take the time to, like, put this much detail into a game. Actually, I got one of my managers from work to play the game, and he was complaining that the game was so bright and like so detailed. Like, I think he started off as a Slavari, and he's like, just like the environment was so bright, it was hurting his eyes. It was like so like detailed. And right here, this is like the outside zone to that area, and like I have the graphics on high settings because I always wanted to capture this, like, the shadows. Like look at that. That's so, like awing. Like, I don't know. It just looks so epic. Like, this is just the opening zone to this game, and you'll see more zones. Like, it's so epic, and like you see in the background, you see the sprinkler systems, and it just looks so. Oh, you know, that was like literally like my first like reaction. Like, wow, this really is like this is an epic game. This right here, I recorded this, was this was like a mini side quest sort of a deal. In the game, you're supposed to collect vistas and try and get to certain like points or points of interest and whatnot. And this was just like a little mini like maze that I had to go through, and I just thought it was really cool. The reward at the end I think was like a spear gun or something, but I was just trying to show off a few of the other things you can do, because a lot of the game does revolve around combat, and the game is quite challenging. The best way I can describe this game is it's familiar yet unique at the same time. It's familiar but refreshing. That's what I want to say. Unique but refreshing. It does certain things. Like, this is like a world boss, and like right here, it's just me and a bunch of random. I was going solo. When you encounter like an enemy, any creature that you're fighting, anywhere in the world, you and anyone can fight the same monster. You'll all get your individual loot. You'll all get your own individual experience with no penalties. Actually, I think if you're grouped up, you get more experience, but I never really paid attention to it. You might get bonus experience and whatnot from it, but that was just a small hog. I thought that was cool. I was just wandering around, and we started fighting it. But here was a mission from the game. But basically, what you'll see in the next scene here is essentially the way the game works is since World of Warcraft, pretty much every game has followed the same kind of structure where you run around and you go to guys with exclamation marks over their head. You get their quests, you skip through the text, and then you go and you do their stupid little quests, and then you get your experience. In this game, what you do is you look on your map, you see where you want to go. You'll get the options of following the vistas, which are indicated by a triangle, the points of interest, or the renown hearts. You see that golden heart in the lower right-hand corner that just was up there. That shows that I just completed a renown heart for the area. The renown heart is essentially all the quests within a small area that you'd want to do. And once you complete that renown heart, you get the experience and you get the option to buy certain things from that vendor. And then you also have these world events, which are just, this was a massive world event where a lot of people just showed up, and it was basically like two armies fighting each other. I think we're trying to take back this outpost or whatever. This was in a harder zone, a more challenging zone that was it's controlled by the Centaur. And as if you ever play a role-playing game, centaurs are assholes. But yeah, it's just pretty awesome. It's like this kind of stuff happens where you just have like a large number of people fighting another large group of enemies, and my inventory got full here. I wanted to pick up the sword. And after you complete these world events, you get just tons of experience and karma. Karma is a form of currency that you use that's unique to your character, and it allows you to essentially get karma for completing quests, and get the option to get some pretty nice gear for it. And right here we're fighting a world boss. You can't even see the boss because it has so many nukes happening to it. Some of them you got to be careful with, of course, because they got massive AoEs and stuff. But something that's also really unique to the game, that at first I was I looked down on it when I heard about it, because I got the game about 3 days after all my other friends, because like they all downloaded it off the internet, and I was like more like, no man, I want the case. So I got the case. So I went up to GameStop, and I went up there at midnight. I still had to wait till 3 o'clock in the morning that day to fucking start playing it, which was horseshit, but whatever. I started playing it. Got my case. The case was actually pretty nice, but I'm kind of getting off topic. Actually, I will talk about it for a little while. The case for the game is okay. I don't know what this trend is in games now, but it used to be that you go get your case, you get your game, and the case was just like a piece of art. Now it's kind of like they just kind of like overthink, like they just like kind of look over it. They're like, whatever. Like, you throw in a plastic case, put our logo on it, and there you go. I don't know. This came with like a sliding sort of sleeve or whatever. It's got some pretty nice art in it, but like the instruction manual is like, actually I don't think it comes with an instruction manual. All it comes with is like a list of all the weapons that each class can use, which is actually a really huge thing, and the controls. But I got a large box because I got there early. It was the first one at GameStop, and I got one of their big boxes, so I kind of like hung that on my wall, kind of like a poster, because they have a pretty cool logo. But I'm getting off topic. I might as well talk about the weapons, because that just reminded me of that. That's a huge thing about the game. Is that your individual skills are based on the weapon you use, based on your class. So, a ranger using a sword has a completely different set of skills than a warrior using a sword. All swords, I believe, have like similar features. Like they all have like a gap closing move, but they're all different for each class. Like when I use a sword on my rogue, it allows me to shadow step to my enemy and bind them for like a second or whatever. So I see that more as like a PvP weapon, but it's actually really unique. I've never seen a game that did this before. It might not be the first game to have done this with the whole like unique weapons. I doubt it is, because usually what it is like your warrior, you have a set skills, your weapons really don't matter. They just kind of imply on your damage or whatever. But in this game, it's a lot more different than that. Or in Final Fantasy XIV, your weapon decided what class you were. In this game, your class and your weapon decides what moves you get, and there's a ton of different combinations. Dual wielding is very unique in this game. It completely changes your skills and just all sorts of stuff. It's a lot of fun to play around with, and the only time I think it starts getting a little bit kind of odd is casters. Well, there's only two types of casters really in the game. There's Elementalist and Necromancer, and even then they're still dependent on their weapons. So it doesn't matter if you're a caster or a fighter, but there's only two types of casters in the game, and they're both really strong. But as you can see here, we just completed this area, and just tons of experience we just got. But yeah, what I was saying earlier was what I was looking down on was when you enter a zone, no matter what zone it is, unless you're above the level, or if you're under level, doesn't count. But you're capped to a certain point in the area, depending on your zone. So a certain zone will be level, let's say 25 to 35. If you're level 40, you're gonna be capped down to whatever level you are in that zone. So you could be level 40 character, stuck at like level 25. Your stuff still have all your moves and your gear scales appropriately, but you just have less hit points, less attack damage, and all that stuff. This right here was awesome. This was a world boss that we just happened to come across. He was just standing there. It's a giant, and I accidentally initiated the fight by using my ultimate move on it, or elite skill. I call it ult because I played League of Legends, so we all just call it the ult because, come on, it's your ultimate move. And I accidentally just triggered it by you get a move called Thieves Guild, which has two thieves that start attacking your target or whatever, and I was targeting him, and they started unloading all these bullets and stuff on this guy. So I started the fight, and there was about there was like about 7 of us, and they were all a bunch of like thieves and mages, a bunch of squishies. We didn't have any solid tanks or whatever, which brings me to another point there really is not any type of tanking in this game. It's very much whoever's the closest is probably getting attacked. You can pull hate, of course, by, like, you know, doing certain actions, like doing tons of damage or whatnot, but oh, right there's my themes. One shoots him, the other one's meleeing. Yeah, it makes the game surprisingly really challenging. This game, the thing I like about this game is it has a nice balance where it's not unfair, but it's challenging. But you can probably do anything. You could probably beat it if you just put enough time into it. It's not hard, it's just challenging, which is good, because no one wants to play a game where you can't really accomplish anything. That was Final Fantasy XI's problem, and, you know, World of Warcraft's problem is it's too goddamn easy. This game finds a nice balance in between that, and but this guy's actually relatively easy if you have enough damage. You just have to watch his movements, because the only thing he can do really that can one-shot you is his stomp. And also, this is probably around level 40. Yeah, what's he, level 40? So you're about mid-level when you're fighting this guy. And I think I'm like 43, it says. So, you know, you just have to know your moves. Everyone gets a dodge. Everyone gets a heal. Your heals are different. You can only dodge about twice every, like, minute or so, depending. See that yellow bar above my health? That's your energy, and that allows you to tell what you... Once you have it over that black line, you can dodge at least once. If it's full, you can dodge twice. And the dodge is nice because it negates any kind of damage. So that's pretty good. I did actually get downed once, but this guy revived me. This battle took me a good 20-some minutes to fight. So I kind of wanted to keep this moving, but damn, God, the entire time I was fighting this guy, it was just awesome. The thing that's nice is any class, no matter what it is viable as a ranged character. So I'm playing a thief, and I am just as dangerous with a short bow as I am with my daggers. Now, that being said, you know, they try to make it seem like a ranger is, you know, a thief is just as good as a ranger with a short bow. It really isn't. First of all, I don't think ranger can use a short bow. Actually, they can, I think, but you shouldn't be using a short bow as a ranger. Come on, what are you doing? Like they try to make it seem like, you know, a ranger is just as good as a melee fighter as a warrior, and, you know, whatever. It's not exactly even, but it's pretty damn close, unless, you know, you're doing something right and the other person's doing something wrong. But, yeah, there's just tons of there's 8 classes you can play as. You should always run around with a melee weapon and a ranged weapon, no matter what class you are. Unless your engineers can't use any melee weapons. They're kind of stuck with their guns. Which, you know, they're actually really good for PvP. Ironically enough, PvP is probably the biggest aspect of this game, and I didn't really record any footage for it, because PvP is its own... I need to make a whole different video for that. And me personally, I did PvP a little bit. In my opinion, don't do World vs. World until you're level 80. I mean, you can gain experience from it, but it's really not worth it, in my opinion, to do it, because you're just going to get your ass kicked at 12 hit points. The heal I have on my character is another free tumble. It tumbles me back about a good, I want to say a good, like, 15 feet, and it heals me for a little bit. And it's on a really short cooldown, so I like it. In my opinion, it's the best, although if there's nothing behind you, you can tumble off of stuff and get yourself killed. But as you can see here, everyone's just shooting at it, and you just have to be really careful. You gotta keep your distance. I'm right in range for his stomp, and if he stomps, I get killed. So you gotta be careful. You need to have your damage over time moves on him. Like I said, this guy really wasn't that hard. I would give him a challenge rating of like, I don't know, a scale from 1 to 10, you'd probably give him like a 5 or a 6. Because he's actually pretty predictable. You just have to yeah, keep damage on him steady and not be stupid. The boss I have later on, I definitely was very pleasantly surprised with what happened, because this game is actually really difficult in a good way. In my opinion, it's a good way. Some people kind of like complain about it, like, whatever. Like the dungeons, I've only done 2 dungeons, and my friends have played a few more, but and there we go, we slay the giant. That calls for a celebration. I did 1 dungeon and it was kind of okay. Right here, that was just cool to look at. We're over the water and there's like a sunken ship in this lake, and it just looks so damn cool. And we go and we climb the top of that to find a world boss that you'll see us fight here in a couple seconds. Right there, this Medusa-like lizard creature. Had to fight her at the top of this ship, and it was epic. But yeah, it's really cool because like when there's a world boss like this, it tells everyone where to go on your map. Everyone can go there, and if you have enough people, you can fight it. You can get a lot of rewards, and it's. They fix the old problems where, you know, you'd have like loot whores and ninjas that go in and they steal the items that people worked really hard for. Every dungeon has its own. Just about every dungeon, I believe, is level 80. There's like 8 or 9 dungeons, and every one of them, except for like 2, have level 80 mode that gives you. That was the tail end of that fight. It was actually a lot harder, and it's always nice when you get these treasure chests. But like I was saying, like just about every dungeon is level 80, and it has 2 versions. There's a story mode version, and then the exploration mode, which is basically the highest level cap for that. I think I only saw like 1 that was like level 40, 1 that was level 60, and the other 2, or the rest of them were all level 80. Really quickly, this, I don't know why, this just looked really cool. It was like a ghost on ghost thing, and I don't know, it was like a cabin in the woods. It looked really fucking cool. I just loved it. Just about all these missions have their own storyline and whatever. If you really want to pay attention to them, you can. If you don't want to, you know. Another thing about the Renown Hearts is you can do it in any fashion. It gives you like about 8 different options of how to handle it. This was another world boss. But I just pretty much recorded all the world bosses because it's really the coolest thing that you can do when you're leveling up. But back to the dungeons. The dungeons, they have like they have their own currency that you can get from the exploration mode, and then you can accumulate like, you know, 200 points or whatever, and then that'll turn into you know, you can get these tokens, and you can trade that in for more loot and whatnot. And it's pretty decent gear that you can get depending on what, you know, what you're into. Weapons are cool, and so it kind of, the game eliminates the thief, like the actual thief that, you know, goes and, you know, at the end of a dungeon gets a lucky roll and ends up taking all the, like, the bomb-ass loot that has, like, a 2% drop rate, and he's like, I don't give a fuck you guys, and he gets the fuck out of there, and then he's considered an asshole to everyone else, but after a while everyone forgets that he did it or some shit, and it kind of just sours the community. But, I mean, the people that are like that, you can't tell because everyone gets their own individual gear. I don't know what this flaming on my hotbar means, this blue flame. I have no idea what that means. I would really like to know. I don't know if it's a buff or what, but Yeah, I don't know. One thing that people might find odd is that I play the game with a controller. And you're probably thinking, how the fuck do you play a game like this with a controller? Because you are using 1 through 0. But I have my controller scheme set up very well to where I can play effectively with a controller. And honestly, I can't go back now. I play with a PS3 controller. Really, you only use 1 through 5 as your attacks, your F1 key for your special class abilities, and 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 6 is your heal, and then the rest are 7, 8, and 9 are utility moves, and then 10 is your ultimate move. You're probably thinking, how do I do that? But pretty much, I use every single button on my controller, like D-pad and all that. But there's plenty of keys to do it, so I get away with it. Right here, this battle. I pretty much have every aspect of this battle in here. This guy, he might be small, but I equate this guy to Frieza. You have to fight this guy on these platforms. You can barely see the bridge in between them. The thing is, you can get enough damage output on the guy, but he teleports away. When he teleports away, and you don't hit him long enough, his health, if you don't hit him fast enough, his health regenerates, like, immediately, and fast. So you have to keep a constant damage on him. And as you can see here, he teleported away, and when he teleports away, he has these laser beams that shoot down from the sky, and they do tons of damage. So, right there, see, bam. Oh shit, I actually got down from that. Luckily, if you have 4, you can revive yourself. Another thing is, too, if you're ever in a kind of situation like that, always try and get everyone up, all the time. It really helps you. If you guys want to, if you want to get something done, you need to be reviving everyone. Everyone can revive. You just need to go over there and hit F and revive the people. For this fight, I'm using a sword and a gun, pistol. That allows for some really nice moves. Lots of mobility and damage. I don't know why I'm using my short bow right here. But my next video with this game, and believe me, there will be another video, will be all about the PvP aspects of the game. So I'll get more into that later, but yeah. Just when I was fighting this guy, ooh, damn, see, he's so tough. After a while, you do kind of get the idea of how to like deal with all this stuff. But I have never fought a boss like this, just like a world boss. Like I have no dungeon footage in this video. Actually, I did the last dungeon with my friends. It was the story mode version. It was kind of lame, but they did the explorer mode on the last dungeon, and they couldn't beat it. They were doing it for about a good like 3 or 4 hours, and they could not complete it because one of the bosses was that tough. So yeah, they even did another exploration mode of. Actually, no, it was just a story mode of like the level 60 or 7 dungeon. And they had a really hard time with that. It took them like a good hour or 2 to beat like the first or second boss because he was that challenging. So, if you're like me and you like a challenge, you will like this game. And of course, the PvP in the game is like I'm not talking a whole lot about it, but it is really good. It's very unique. All this guy is a little... If you look closely on him, it says his title is the final boss. Once you beat him, you go into that portal up there, and there's a dungeon. But all he is he's in the Sura with a fucking big-ass sword. And no one's touching him, which means his health went back up. So, right there I cut away. Necromancers are the favorite right now in terms of classes, just because basically when you get to the last zone in the game, you're fighting Risen, which are essentially zombies, and you encounter a lot of necromancers. You don't really encounter necromancers unless, you know, like when the game first came out, everyone's playing, you know, Guardian, Warrior, Thieves, and stuff like that. Few elementalists, and I think a lot of people, for some reason, weren't really looking towards necromancers. And then everyone hits level 80, because there are some ways to get to level 80 really fast. If you craft the entire time, you can get to level 80 very fast. Depending on what craft you do, you get about 10 levels per craft. Actually, it is 10 levels per craft if you max it out. So you can level up pretty fast. A lot of people got to level 80 in literally 5 days. Actually, it took me about a week. I think I said 5 days. It took me about a week or two to get there. But yeah, like you get to the level 80 zone, and you're fighting just swarms of Risen. They're pretty much the main enemy in the story mode too. So a lot of people, you know, they don't play the story mode right away. You know, some people, you know, some people do. You know, I was up on it most of the time, but yeah, the necromancers, the Risen, are just brutal. So everyone sees these now, and they're pretty much like the new popular thing right now. So yeah, I don't know, like the main story is you're trying to fight the Dragon of Death, which I'm not entirely sure how I feel about that, because if the way they're making it seem is the dragons are evil. All dragons are evil in this game. Okay, fine, whatever. You know, it's always good to fight dragons. But basically, like, they're making these dragons, they have their own armies that are trying to kill, like, you know, the human race, or, you know, the races of the world for whatever reason. I'm not entirely sure. Oh my god, his health went all the way back up. Yeah, nobody had enough damage on him, and he's pretty much back up to full health. That sucks. But, no, you know what? Yeah, technically a dragon is very intelligent, and it would be able to take on, you know, it would be able to have its own army. I just think it's kind of silly, because when you're playing I don't know, like, what does a dragon do? Dragon just chills in its house, or its cave or whatever, with all its jewels and gold or whatever, and it just kind of chills there, and when somebody comes in, it fucks it up. I don't know, it just seems kind of silly that a dragon is raising an army to kill everyone. That was stupid. Should not have been in. I saw that circle. I don't know why. All I had to do was step out of it a little bit. I wouldn't have taken that damage, but yeah, whatever. Another thing I liked about this fight was I had to change my tactics. I took off my tumble for my other heal that turns me invisible, so that way I wouldn't, you know, go flying off the edge. But yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was kind of silly that the dragon, yeah, they're having their armies. I have no idea what they'll do for their next, for their first expansion pack. They'll probably have you fight like another dragon, probably like a fire dragon or an ice dragon or something. Probably an ice dragon. I don't know why. This just feels like they would go in that direction. I was actually surprised that they were having you fight an undead dragon, essentially. Oh, spoiler alerts, just saying. But yeah. What else to say? Like, the good thing is the glitches in the game. I've actually only encountered a few, very few. It seems like you know, there are some quests that are bugged, but they're not like major bugs that break the game, or make the game completely unplayable or anything. They've just been a lot of them were in the older zone, or the not older zones, the later level zones, where it seems like at first there wasn't a whole lot of bugs being like found there, just because there weren't a whole lot of people there. But a lot of people have level 80s already. It does not take long to get to level 80 in this game, which is good. You can, if you're a casual player, you can still get to level 80 in a relatively decent amount of time, if you focus on one character, of course. But another good thing is the game almost never goes down for maintenance, really. They do maintenance all the time, and they hot patch the game all the time, but it's usually around like 3 or 4 in the morning, so if yeah, it's usually only down for like maybe 20 to 30 minutes at most when they do it. It's very rare that it's down for, you know, over an hour. Very rare, if it even goes down at all, which is really good. You can pretty much play the game at any time you want. I'm gonna, let's see here. I do wish there were mounts in the game, I'm not gonna lie. That's something that I would really like to see. But, yeah, they'll probably add them eventually, I'd imagine, if the demand gets high enough. Because pretty much you're fast traveling everywhere, or running around, and that's not a problem, but still, when you get to the zones, in PvP, oh my god, having a mount in PvP would just be fucking epic. It would be amazing, because these zones are so huge, like, up, like, vertically and horizontally, they are massive. Just so many places to go. It's huge. I can't explain it any other way except that the zones are massive. Bigger than pretty much any other MMO I've ever seen. More detailed, like graphically, like just visually pleasing. Like, if I were to jump into that water, I don't even know what the hell could be in that water. Speaking of that, there's underwater combat, which is very unique. God, there's so much in the game. Like, there's no way I could talk about it all in one video. It's just, if I were to give it a rating, you can never really even rate an MMO, because they only get better with time usually, unless they're really bad. I would have to say, you know, I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10, at least. I'm giving that, that's on the low end. You know, it's an 8.5 out of 10. There's 9 out of 10. You know, fuck it. It gets a 9 out of 10. It's a really fucking good game. You never have to pay a monthly fee or anything. Right here, this is just goofy. It's a bunch of people dancing around. God, yeah. Check out the game. You guys will love it. God damn it. Me and my friend were just like standing in town. We see all these people dancing, and it was just hilarious. So, it's a great game, guys. Check it out. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you again soon. Bye.